Hi everybody, I'm Mary Angela Saavedra, the director of the Center on the Hill, and it's time for another episode of Tell Me Something Good, now with special guests. I am joined today by Esther Cole, who is the church administrator. Hi Esther.
Hi.
Thanks so much for joining us. For those of you who've never watched before, a little reminder, I picked 3 cards from the game Storywise, which is 144 thoughtful ways to bond with a fellow human. We share our thoughts on those, and then you email me your thoughts and join the conversation. So thanks for watching today. Without further ado, let's get started. I'm going to shuffle. I like to shuffle them up. Let's see. Here we go. I show you the picture. This is the picture. You see it? It's like, looks like they're people on a boat. They're all in life vests. And this says, what you are doing. Wait, sorry. This says, what you are happiest doing on a given day. And I'll start this one. Wow, what I'm happiest doing? I mean, honestly, nothing. I really love like laying around in a hammock and listening to podcasts or, an audiobook. I'm in the midst of an audiobook right now, and I love that. I used to really love to read, and then my eyes didn't love that so much. So I've switched to more audiobooks than reading, but audiobooks and podcasts, really just being outside and being able to relax like that. I am definitely happiest when I'm doing that on any given day. That is great for me. How about you?
Well, I'm the same. I like to be outside. And for me, my most favorite thing to do, and I can't do it very often, is stand-up paddleboard. And 2 summers ago, we went away to a lake for a week and they had a stand-up paddleboard, and I loved it. I can go out for an hour at a time, stay out there, get in the middle of the lake, sit down on the paddleboard, lay there. Just, it's a great place to think out in the middle of the lake. But Greg would sometimes hop in the kayak beside me and would go around the whole lake. So relaxing. But as a second, it's walking. I walk almost every day, unless it's yucky like today, hot and humid, to work and then back again at night. And each way is 2 miles. And I get a chance to think about my day, maybe call my mom in the morning, call my daughter in the afternoon, or just be and think on my way to and from work. And then when I'm not working, my husband and I have been walking a ton together because we are, holed up in our house, and we have some awesome hikes and trails around us to do. So those are the 2 things.
That's awesome. That's great. I love how like both of ours are outdoors, but yours is a much more physical experience. And I'm all like, I'm going to lay in a hammock. I'm gonna lay outside. We all have our things. That's good. That's great. Okay. Our next question, you'll start this one. This is the picture. It's a guy on like crazy stilts.
Oh, I see. Yep.
Yeah. Nutty stilts. And the question says, something you wish you could invent.
Oh, well, there was something that I wish I could invent, but it had already been invented. Perhaps I'll share that and then maybe think about something in the meantime. I tire of holding my phone like this to talk to my mom for such a long time, and especially with arthritis in my hands. So I wanted a regular telephone like this, my phone. And I thought, I'm going to invent this and I'm going to sell this. Well, I Googled it first, and Amazon or somebody else had already beat me to it. But for $16, I have this awesome receiver that I just plug in my phone and I can talk to my parents or whoever very comfortably.
That's great.
Yeah, off the top of my head, maybe a stand-up paddleboard that's even lighter than 17 pounds that, and you can blow it up maybe with, this is it, maybe with some portable weights that you can put on it to weigh it down once you're in the water to help stabilize it.
That makes sense. There's your $1 million idea.
Yeah.
For me, I would love to invent something that helps us travel faster, like be able, like longer distances. Like I would love to not have to spend 6 hours in the car to see my mom. And I know the 6 hours is a drop in the bucket. Sometimes people fly 14 hours to get places to see their family. So I fully understand, but I'm like, I would love to do something that made it so that, invent something that could make it so we could travel without so much time having to pass, much easier. Because honestly, if I could make it to my mom's in an hour, well, I'd go pretty much, once a week. Like, I'd see people more often. And we have technology that helps bridge that gap and make us feel closer, but it's not the same as being there. So if I could invent something, it would be, and I don't know what that would look like. I don't know if it would be like, I understand the science behind teleporters and sci-fi, and I'm like, no, I don't want that. I'm going to take apart my body and put it back together anywhere. That's not fun.
Yeah.
Like the idea of vacuum tubes. I know they talked about that, where you can like use a vacuum tube and get where you have to go faster, something like that. I'd love to invent something like that. Brought us closer faster.
I always thought when I was in school, I would love to be able to climb a very tall ladder from my house and slide all the way to school.
Nice.
I dreamt about that for a long, long time.
Well, that would be so fun.
Yeah, wouldn't it?
Love a good slide. Okay, and then this is our last question. I'll start this one and then you'll answer second. Here is, it looks like some people and they're wading through like flooding water.
Yeah.
And the question says, something you think is a big threat to human beings right now. And yeah, I think in environmental ways, like I think the environmental issues are a big threat to human beings. I think we don't understand. I think we do understand. I think we just don't care in some cases. But the damage that we're doing to our planet, like, fracking, we're basically literally splintering the crust of our planet. And I was like, does everybody understand what's under the crust? That's like molten lava, and like we can't live on that. And like that's bad. And I just feel like that is a huge threat to us as a species. Like I feel like there are creatures on this planet that have been around for millions of years that have survived, asteroids and all the, everything. Like they're sort of designed for that, but we are not. And like we're literally destroying the planet that we live on. And I think that's definitely a big threat to us right now. What do you think?
Well, I'll piggyback on that and say, yes, environmental things. And what's more important, or as important, are the laws that are being taken away to protect our environment right now. And as seems at a horrific rate, they're just being torn up and thrown away as if they're not important. And I don't understand how any group, let alone a big group like the ones that are doing this, can say that it's not important for us to protect the place that we live in and the place that our grandchildren are going to grow up in and be in. And as a result of that, you're going to see those horrific floods that you had in your picture. You're going to see starving people because their lands have turned into desert. And I'm with you, Mary Angela. I think that's one of the biggest we have to, and ignorance.
Yeah, it kind of goes, hand in hand there a little bit. That's a huge threat. It's like you educate yourself, and then you care about these things.
Right.
It's and those that aren't, it's very hard to set. And and I think we've only seen the tip of the iceberg, no pun intended. That like it's really so many things happening. Everybody keeps talking about, the hurricane season was so much worse this year.
Yeah.
And even if you go back in time where people say, well, there was a really bad hurricane season in the early 1900s. What was going on then? That whole birth of the Industrial Revolution, we're pumping out all that stuff into the atmosphere. I'm like, there might be a reason. I mean, it is nature. It'll balance itself, but it doesn't mean that it won't come back around, that it won't.
Right, right. So you know that I lived in London for 13 years. And we had neighbors who used to live next to us in Vermont come and visit us in London. And he oddly is an Englishman, an odd Englishman at that, but when he visited us in London, he could not believe the difference from when he was there in the 60s. He said, you can see the blue sky, you can breathe, because all of those, nobody was burning coal in the city anymore. And they had they had put all those guidelines in place. But now, certainly not in London, but other places, they're beginning to lift those rules for everybody and making it a poorer place for us.
I found it interesting, all the articles that I read throughout this pandemic about, the impact of having less traffic on the roads has had, the clear skies in California and in China. And I'm just like, that doesn't say something. You're just like, look at all these, satellite pictures where they're like, actually at this moment, things are pretty good because we're not all out in force. And it's like,
yes. But now I think people are hopping right back in their cars again, and here we go. I got to get away and got to do something. And
yeah, no, they are. I sat in traffic on Germantown Avenue for the first time in 3 months.
Really?
The other day, and I was like, "Oh, what's this?" This is okay. Thanks. Well, thank you so much for answering those with me. I'm going to recap for those of you watching at home. Our questions were, what you are happiest doing on a given day, something you wish you could invent, and something you think is a big threat to human beings right now. Share your thoughts with me by emailing me at msaavedra@chestnuthillpres.org. That's msaavedra@chestnuthillpres.org. Join the conversation. Thank you, Esther, so much for being with us and sharing your thoughts. Have a great rest of your day, everybody.
Bye-bye.